Hello and welcome to another video. This is update number 1 on a new build for me just now. My last video was a review of Tamiya's 135 Desertized Challenger 2, and this is update number 1 on that build. So what you can see in front of you is how far I've got with the main hull. If we start at the bottom, all the road wheels, the turn rollers, the idler wheel at the front and the dry sprocket are done on both sides. Each wheel is actually 3 parts, 4 if you include the polycap, so both halves, polycap and the hubcaps are separate. They can still come off, they're not attached, so they'll be come off for painting because they've got the polycaps in them, so obviously they can still roll. They all do on the dry sprocket. Oddly, this kit under the overhang of the overhull, there's a huge big gap. You could fill it with plastic art, I suppose, but honestly, once it's on the ground, once the tracks are on, and once the side skirts are on, you're not going to see in there anyway. And frankly, nobody with my models anyway is going to be sitting going like this, going, there's a huge gap under there. So I don't really care. The upper hull on the main hull itself comes as one piece. You don't have to add very much. There's a couple of pieces I've still got to add on here. I wasn't entirely sure what these were to start with, but I believe that these are actually just rubber, and it's to protect the turret as it turns. And presumably this one's for then if the to protect the actually because this is the engine access hatch, so presumably when it's flipped up, stops any damage. This kit usually is a desertized version, so it should have the big side skirts with the explosive reactive armor, the chum armor, the sand skirts, and the thermal exhaust kills over the exhausts here. However, I'm doing a vehicle from Battis. They're very plain, they're very basic, just as they come out of the factory more or less. I think they don't have any of the fancy stuff. So luckily the kit includes the normal exhaust outlets, which is what's here. Driver's hatch is on. The glass windows in. I realise now I actually forgot to paint behind it. So what I think I'm going to do is I've got some. I was maybe going to try using, as Norm calls it, Norm Lajoie. He did a video a while ago now on how to make your AFV vision ports look kind of like the coloured mirrored glass effect you often get. And he uses kind of party streamers, this coloured plastic stuff, and you put a bit behind your vision block. Now I don't have any, and I haven't got around to buying any yet, so I was going to use my clear Tamiya paints. However, the ones I've got are green, red and orange, which are all a bit kind of bright colours to be putting on these things, which are often kind of maybe a kind of blue-green or a purple-red more than a single colour. And now I can't reach up behind it because there's a bit here. So I may try it on the outside if I get around to it, otherwise it'll just stay as it is. And I think once the turret's on and stuff, it'll be dark enough under there that it won't be so obvious. The driver's hatch in the closed position because there's no driver comes with it, and there's no interior. Front fenders are on. These are a bit, I might damage these up a little bit because these are actually rubber in real life, this section here, so I might kind of bend it around a little bit, give it a bit more life. I've made the tracks up, the other side's off at the moment, but they're brilliant. For rubber tracks, they're brilliant. I'm actually really pleased. They can be glued with plastic glue, so no more melting pins together, and then so far they seem to be really good. And they're nicely detailed. There was no flash on these either at all, and any injector pin marks, which are just a very couple of slight little bits, and they're all on the inside, and you couldn't see them very much. The rear hull plate had a lot of work. There's obviously the 2 racks for the fuel drums. In the middle, sticking up here, is a medical box and the telephone. I believe this is a towing eye, spare track links, tow hooks, and a central towing eye which moves, which is kind of cool. The rear lights will go in between these little brackets here on each side, which are made up. So we've got some extras here left off for painting the 2 fuel drums. There is a jerry can, water can rack with the telephone reel. that usually sits in the middle of there, but again I'm going to leave it off for painting, and those two jerry cans go inside it. The rear lights are actually clear parts. I've used Tamiya clear red and clear orange to do that, but then I need to mask those bits up and paint the rest of it, which I think will be a bit easier without it being stuck on the tank there. And these little bits here are just the guards for that, and one of the tanker bodies, which I'll show later on. That was just me cutting it off the frame for now. So that's the main body. What else have I been working on? Currently I'm building the turret up. So there's some clear parts go on the underside of here through the top. Where the black bits are, that's just where there's going to be clear parts, so that you don't see, I've remembered this time, so you don't see the plastic inside. Around the cupola here, you get a sheet of clear plastic, like plastic card but clear, and you have to cut all these little windows out. So I think there's, what is there, 2, 4, 6, 8 of them to do. You get the template on the instructions here, so you have to cut them out to that size, and then glue each one in there, which I'm not really looking forward to. And there's some clear parts to go in here. Oh, excuse me. Here we have the gun mantlet. I decided to do the main sight here with the cover open. Now what I did do on this is, behind this, you can't really tell, so I put it in the light. You can maybe just tell there that it's not clear. So the inside of there is painted black, but then I also mixed up red and green to get a kind of purpley colour for the lens there, which I think it looks better than just clear plastic. So that's quite cool. Coax MG. This is quite cool. In the little mounting brackets here, there are more poly caps, so it moves but nice and stiffly. So the gun's not, you know, if you put it up like this when it's on the tank, the gun's not gonna fall down under its own weight, which is quite cool. Here's the actual gun barrel itself. It's weedy thin compared to the AS90 barrel. I think I've managed to get rid of the seam between the two halves. Luckily they kind of run along the side rather than the top, which, I don't know, seems to make it a little bit easier. The only thing I'm not sure about is how to get rid of the seam here in the recoil sleeve, because it's all ribbed. If anybody has any tips on how to get rid of that, I'm all ears. And that obviously sits in place there. It's massive. So where are we? That's a 6-inch ruler. That's monstrous, and that's the hull. It sticks out beyond there. It's huge thing. Don't know where I'm going to put it. Quickly then, the other thing I did was, because I'm not doing the Desert Tide version, the Bassist vehicle doesn't use the big fancy side skirts. Rust2471, he very kindly sent me some spare Tamiya Challenger 1 side skirts. Now these are a lot more square than the kind of ones you see now, which are the kind of wavy look. So basically what I had to do, or well, what I chose to do, was to cut them into more akin to this as they are now. So we have the right one at the top, the left one at the bottom, with the front being this end and the front being that end respectively. I cut them into individual panels, and then I just trimmed them. Well, this one was already as the front is, so this one is not hugely accurate, because in the real tank this one is more shaped like this one, and the rear one is quite similar. So the rear ones are okay, but the front ones are the only main difference. And my cutting and measuring looks okay. I think the kind of angles of the cuts are more or less okay, but sometimes, as you can see on this one, that should match up at the bottom, and it kind of doesn't. But frankly, I don't care. I was quite pleased with how they came out, and I think they look really good. And I think they'll look really good on the tank. I might even leave one off just for a bit of visual interest, as if it's been replaced. So, as I said, tonight I'm carrying on working on this, the turret, and that's about it really for this update. Thank you very much for listening to me waffle and throw the camera around, and I will see you in another video. Goodbye now.